Not chai chat.
Put it in the middle.
What was I saying earlier, by the way?
About
The
what?
cup.
No. Just like a couple minutes ago, we were saying.
You think I know what
Zillab got. I totally
I don't
forgot.
know. I mean, we
Zillab,
don't.
everybody. Cheers.
Is that your third drink already?
No, he dropped.
No, there was one I didn't like that Father Danny promised I would like.
This
He
one?
lied to me. You want it here?
Okay.
Blackberry cucumber.
You gonna drink it?
These look like very bougie, you know, but
Oh,
it's just a
the
sparkling
cross.
water flavored
The
one.
cross. La
Oh,
croix.
that's what it means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that in French or something?
Yeah.
I think it's French, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's French.
It's croce.
And not that you know it's no French, but.
The limoncello one is bomb. But
Okay, I'll see you guys later.
feeding fathers.
Is that what
Feeding
this
fathers,
called?
or
That's what this is called.
chai chat feed too,
Not or not chai chat.
or not chai chat.
Hey, we've come a long way, by the way. Because look, how many seasons of Try Chat did we have in episodes?
3-ish?
Was it 3?
3, yeah. There were some with
And how
9
many-
episodes, some with
This is in memoriam.
Heck yeah, man. We gotta get
It's
you
empty.
some
It's symbolic. It's
chai in
symbolic
hand.
that it's over. I guess I'll put some ginger ale in there. I don't know. What are we doing? What's the show again?
Feeding fathers.
Feeding fathers.
We're gonna feed and be fed.
Hala.
There's a big reveal about that at the end, I guess.
You ruined it.
I know.
Spoilers. I'm gonna look right at the camera like you told me not to. Spoilers.
Yeah, that's good. How is everyone doing?
Bad.
Why?
What are we talking about? Get to the point. What is this
Okay,
small talk?
well, yeah,
Come
I just
on.
wanted to see what
No,
you guys wanted to
why
talk
are you
about.
Bad? Tell me, I'm here.
So we're going to be talking about stuff going on in the world from a Chaldean Catholic perspective, with each other. You know, we have some good conversations. I think they're great conversations with my brother priests, and so we wanted to share them with the
Agree to
world.
disagree.
You know, especially with our great rector, Father Andy,
No, a great rector, Father Denny. He's the rector of the
rector
cathedral.
of the cathedral,
A great abbot.
the great abbot over
A
here.
great rector of social media.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He's the bishop of social media.
there's a lot of stuff going on social media. You know, you guys saw the videos. This was yesterday, but the people are going to be watching it later on about the stabbing of Marmari, the Assyrian bishop. That was crazy.
Did he actually get stabbed? I was seeing the knife didn't open, but then it opened later, but then it didn't.
This is what happens with social media. It's like there's a video, and then there's 50 other people had something on their phone, and then it's all from different angles, and then some of them are afterwards, some of them before, and then like be honest with you, I watch those, and I'm like, man, you could either go down a rabbit hole and spend the rest of the day.
That's what I did yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
And you spend the rest of the day looking at and it's very like kind of tempting to do that. Like, and then what do you know at the end? Almost nothing, because there's different speculation in the kinmaha. And then well, how did you benefit from that?
Yeah.
You gossiped basically. You know stuff about something that's not really.
Yeah.
So like, it's terrible, obviously. And I got like 10 texts saying like, do you guys have security at the church?
Yeah.
You know, okay, that's fine. And I think it's disgusting that somebody would do that.
It's those immediate commentaries.
Hey, and then
Like you know
Ba'din.
nothing
I know.
yet.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this.
Like I
that.
got within 5 seconds, I got these freaking this religion, the kind of people, this whatever, and then like, is it clear it was somebody from that? I don't know, maybe not. Is it clear? Do we know?
You know
yet?
what? Last night I saw there was reports that the guy was saying Allahu Akbar when he was going to do it.
Yeah, I heard that
You know,
report too.
He was saying that multiple times, and I did see a video of the guy. Did you guys see the picture when he was on the ground and he was like smiling after? Well, that's
I
what
saw a picture of
and
that.
I saw a video of it, and he was speaking Arabic, and I understood that he said, if he didn't speak about my religion, I wouldn't have come, dini. And so he has spoken a lot about Islam,
Lately,
obviously,
lately
you
he's
know.
been speaking about that.
Marmari does?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, my thing is, okay, he's saying something about your X or Y or Z or your religion. Okay, you say something about him. Respond to what he's saying.
exactly.
You're going to turn it into violence. That shows that you're kind of a coward and you're too weak-minded to actually respond. And you're going to go to violence. And that goes for everybody, not one religion or another. Or like if it's like two like people that disagree on like LaCroix or whatever, like what drink is better, we'll disagree and we'll argue with each other. But if I'm going to start beating him up because he disagrees with me, that just shows that I'm weak,
Yeah.
like mentally weak.
It's an insecurity.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear what the people did after to him?
Is that true?
It is.
See, I don't know if any of that's true. That's
Well,
the thing.
look. So
Reports.
I was reading that they cut off his fingers. Like I saw tweets about that.
Yeah.
But then the police at the end, I saw this last night. They said that he did sustain injuries to his hands afterwards.
They said
The-
that.
Oh,
The
that was a
police
police
said
report?
that.
Oh, wow.
The police said that. Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean,
dude.
you know, eye for an eye. It's applied there,
It's probably a small eye.
Yeah, but
which is not the Christian principle.
it's not the Christian
But,
principle,
you know,
and
You're kind of in the moment. I don't know.
and even there was.
I'm not saying they did the right thing.
I know, but there was one of the priests there. He was, doing a video outside, like when there was a bunch of commotion, and he was saying, "Don't be violent." Obviously, Marmari doesn't want you guys to, and he said that.
I also saw there were reports again, but it seems plausible. He's a clergyman, that he went and like prayed on the guy afterwards
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
How long
That's
was
very
that
Christian
aisle
if that happened. That's beautiful, but
for him to walk in through the front doors? Because, for example, at St. Peter's,
they get
That
taken
would-
down in 5
in
seconds.
5
I thought he
seconds-
was-
Is it like a short?
I don't know if he just walked through the aisle. I thought he was
Sitting there.
sitting there as a member,
And then an opportune
listening,
time.
and then he just walked up there.
I don't know.
And then the police had him. As you can see, I was on the rabbit hole all night.
Yeah, I can tell.
So the police had him, and the people were like chanting, "Bring him out!" And I think this was after the people cut his fingers off and stuff. And
Yeah.
so
Allegedly.
That
we
was-
have a big community
that was
there,
crazy.
too, by the way.
I know.
We have a
There's
huge
there's a
community.
lot of people.
That's
Um,
Sydney, right?
Sydney, yeah. There was just a stabbing at a mall in Sydney, like last week too. So there's a lot of crazy stuff happening.
How?
So-
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Well, my thing is like, it was so fresh. This happened 2 days ago. So the people are
It's
watching
yesterday, but the people watching it
this. It's going to be like a week from later.
it's gonna be last week.
So by the time they watch this, we might look so stupid by saying stuff that is really clear right now.
Exactly, yes.
And then new things have surfaced
I
by
know.
then. I remember watching, like sitting there, and I'm like having dinner late one night, and then I got a text. Somebody that I knew was at the Vegas shooting.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. So like there's nothing on the news yet because it's happening right at that moment. And then I'm like, well, where do you go when you want immediate news? Twitter. But Twitter, like, oh, it's happening right now. But then it was 90% of what I saw was false. There was like all these reports like, oh, now there's another shooter at the Bellagio. And no, it's like this was like this organized thing, and there's a big terrorist attack, and like none of that was true. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. Like, what the heck is going on?
And you knew someone there
And
at
I was
that
somebody
moment.
at the moment. Yeah, it was so then I just sort of learned like you really can't trust everything you hear. Like,
And you should, because everyone's gonna have an opinion on something, no matter what. It's like
Oh, yeah, it's charged.
It's become like a canon. You have to have an opinion if something crazy happens. Like when I was in Iraq last month, there was that bomb when we were there. Remember, it was like 2 weeks before there was that bombing in Erbil or whatever.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
at the airport. Or
And the news was going crazy. Erbil is shut down. Airport shut down. People are scared. No one's leaving. We go there and see beautiful waterfalls and
Yeah.
but there's a reason why this happens. It's because that's what gets clicks. You don't get clicks saying, "Oh, I'm gonna like give you just the 2 or 3 actual facts I know about this, and that's it." Show's over in 45 seconds. See you next week.
it's dishonest though.
But yeah, it's absolutely dishonest. But those are the people that are getting rich and like, oh, and I'm gonna do, like you said, like a running commentary on everything that's happening just to hear my own voice, and like maybe I have a cool voice and people are gonna tune in, and I'm gonna get people upset and mad, and people enjoy being upset and mad,
Yeah.
or self-pitying,
Action.
or
They just need something.
yeah, or persecution complex, and I want whatever's gonna feed me whatever I feel like feeling. That's what I'm gonna click on. If the sensationalist stuff, the stuff that's craziest, those are the people that are going to be the most popular. More people are going to watch them, and it's going to make those people more crazy. It's like a drug, and now I want even crazier stuff. I mean, my parents are in Iraq right now. I think even by the time this comes out, they're still going to be in Iraq. 2-3 days ago, Iran started sending stuff into Israel. No, they actually did shut down the Erbil airport.
Yeah.
And I have friends that work that work with, the army, the armed forces, and I'm asking these people like, what's going on? So my friend is texting his friends in Iraq, and he's like, yeah, they went into bunkers just in case. And I'm like, my parents are a few miles from Erbil, so thank God they're in Alpish. It's safer there. But like, and they did shut down the airport, and then a day later it's open and it's fine.
Yeah.
But again, by the time this comes out, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. What do you guys think about like the response that the people did with the violence to the guy that did it, and how should we be as Christians? Like, should we just be passive and say, oh, let them do whatever they want, and I'm just going to preach the message of Jesus? Where do you like where's the line you guys think to defend yourself?
I mean, Christ is turned the other cheek.
Yeah.
It seems like his words are very radically
peaceful, right?
Pacifistic.
Yeah.
Very radically, to the point where it's like absurd.
It's like, yeah, what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
Well, there's the other example, right? At the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus gets arrested. Peter cuts out the ear of that guy, and then Jesus heals the guy's ear and says, "Whoever lives by the sword dies by the sword." I mean, that's pretty explicit. Like,
It's very challenging. It's a challenging faith that we have.
yeah.
And that one, it says, I think one of the accounts says Peter cuts off
yeah,
the guy's ear,
his
Malchus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Malchus.
And then Jesus heals it. That means like there's an extra ear sitting there.
yeah.
Wait, he didn't like.
I don't know, maybe he just picked
I
it up
think
and
in
did
the
it.
Passion of the Christ, it shows that he picked it
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously it's
I
not.
kind of think it's funny if like he just created an ear.
It'd be funny.
Now there's like an extra
It'd
ear.
be funny. It's definitely possible, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't think it has to be a time where someone's being persecuted and you say, "Oh, thank you so much. That means I'm more like Christ now that I'm being persecuted," and being joyful about it. That's not a natural human response.
No.
I think it's okay
It's
to
very challenging.
be a little disturbed about these things and try your best to apply the gospel to your life, and you move on.
Try your best is the issue. So that's because the ideal that Christ is presenting is rejoice and be glad when they persecute you.
Yeah.
And what we're getting from a typical kind of Catholic culture warrior podcast is when you're persecuted, feel sorry for yourself and whine about it for weeks at a time. And that's the exact opposite of what Jesus is saying. And that's what's encouraged. And from my very limited experience with this stuff, a lot of the time, it's not even actual persecution. It's just like something happened and the guy happened to be Christian. And I think Marmari was, I think he was because he was a bishop and because he was Christian and saying what he was saying. But like, man, how often does it happen because this person was truly just preaching Christianity and only that reason that they were victimized? I'm sure it happens, and absolutely it happens in all kinds of parts of the world. In those very extreme cases, Jesus says, rejoice and be glad. But a lot of times, you're just a jerk, and somebody's attacking because you're a jerk, and you also happen to be Christian. Oh, no, they're attacking me because I'm Christian. No, maybe you just kind of had it coming.
And if you equate that to like modern day martyrs like Father Raghid, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
If you're gonna equate you being, talked down to on Twitter or something to
they're living
him
in a
being-
war zone.
Yeah.
Or they tell you happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, risking their life going to mass on
I'll be
Sunday,
persecuted, poor me.
And him being a witness of the faith and dying for his faith.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard about this when Andrew Tate, very popular and controversial figure, when he converted, he used to be Orthodox Christian, and he said he used to go to multiple masses a week. He converted to Islam, and he said the main reason why he converted is because he sees that Christians are weak and they don't stand up for their faith, like they let themselves be persecuted and attacked for their faith, right?
And all those masses have never read the gospel, huh?
Right, I know, seriously. And
Or
then you have the
history.
message of Jesus saying, turn the other cheek. Those who live by the sword will die by the sword, healing that man. I mean, the apostles wanted to fight for Jesus and to protect him, but he, ended up giving his life.
Okay, so the kind of the word that's like buzzing around the world today is justice, right? But there's no such thing as justice in this world. It's not going to be perfectly accomplished. We can try, we can do all this stuff, but the more we force it, the more we fall into violence, I think, and that's why Jesus had to die on the cross. I think that what he was doing when he died on the cross is to say, like, I'm not going to enforce justice in the world because it's impossible. It is a world of sin, and sin still exists, right? But he kind of incorporated the injustice into himself, took it, and then, by taking it and accepting it in obedience to God and for the love of people, he transformed that, into an act of love. And it's love at the end of the day that saves the world. That's why, like, he said, he who lives by the sword dies by the sword. It doesn't work, when you eye for an eye, it just doesn't work at the end of the day. And
doing what he did takes so much more strength than fighting back.
Exactly.
You have to be so much more of a real man, real woman. You have to be actually like truly in control of yourself in a very like like beyond virtue way, in like a supernatural virtue kind of way, to actually turn the other cheek the way Christ wants you to. I actually want, like, I kind of want to, like, 10% agree with the sentiment that's expressing, to say, no, if you turn the other cheek because you feel like you're a loser and you don't deserve anything, no, that's like bad self-esteem. You actually should work on that. Turning the other cheek because you don't think that, like, no, it's not worth defending it. It's not worth it. It's not that it's not. No, that's not worth it. It's about, it is worth it. I have dignity. I am somebody that deserves to be respected. And out of self-control, I'm going to turn the other cheek. It's all. I think the way that I think about it is like, this person doesn't deserve me to get mad at them.
Yeah.
It's not a weakness. I am so confident in who I am that I don't need to fight back because I know who I am.
And what's the true victory that we want is you want to win that person's soul over to Christ. Right. You know, like, this person is not your enemy as much as they would act like your enemy. There is the devil is all of our enemies, and we have to try to bring these people, even if they disagree with us, if they persecute us, we have to bring them to Christ.
What about John Paul II visiting the guy that shot him?
Exactly.
In jail? Yeah. Was a Turkish guy or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. And
he goes and visits him, and like.
And Marmari, they said that he did pray over the guy that attacked him. Man,
that's rough, right? You have to be so strong to be able to do that.
But if you're looking for, kind of like what was being said earlier, you said it, if you're looking to be persecuted, or if you're looking for an excuse to get angry at another person or at another group or whatever it is, it's like, that's not Christian anymore. That has nothing to do with the cross, for sure. Yeah.
It can have, I really try to give people benefit of the doubt, even somebody like that. Like, it might be, there might be a kind of political advantage to it, to like, oh, I'm going to cry about a culture war and persecution or whatever, so that I get a political advantage of it. I'm not sure that's what Christ wanted the gospel to become.
Yeah.
And so now you're taking something that's meant to sanctify souls, you're disobeying something that Christ said for a political victory. Man, and again, I want to acknowledge that there is some good in having truly just laws, and laws that reflect the truth of humanity and whatever. I think there's a great good to that. But if you're disobeying the gospel to accomplish that, I mean, Christ could have done that, right? The devil said, like, here, I'm going to give you all the nations of the world. Just commit one little sin. Nobody's even going to know about it. No. You're doing something that's a kind of blasphemy.
But it stems from eisegesis, right? Someone inserting their own, mentality and thoughts into the scriptures, rather than taking out what's there, how you're meant to read it, how you're meant to interpret it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and once you get to that conclusion, then it's like, oh, being persecuted for righteousness' sake. You have to define your terms first. What does the author of that gospel mean?
Right.
What is going on? What did Jesus mean? Why is it in this context? And if you come to a wrong conclusion, you're... Even
more confusing, exactly the same lines. Even more confusing is, okay, I've seen people sort of attempting to apply, here is what God commanded, I don't know, King David to do, or like Abimelech, or whatever, somebody from the Old Testament, to keep the kingdom of Israel safe, or to conquer these lands, or whatever. And it's like, man, you really got to read the Bible carefully. What is the author's intention in writing this? What is God's intention? How do you know that wasn't a command just for that moment, just for that people, because the Messiah was going to come from them and they had to be secured? Who says, well, God told, King David to do this and to slay these people and to slaughter them and to whatever? Oh man, that's rough by itself. But even on top of that, who says that applies to every single country all the time? You know what I mean?
Weaponizing scripture.
That's like a very damaging thing to do to the Bible.
Well, and then the other thing is, we're the church. We're not a country, right? So it's like God is not saying that to us. He said that to a country for sure, but the country was leading to the church, and he doesn't say that to the church. Jesus tells us what God says to the church.
In other words, the Old Testament prepares for the New Testament because the New Testament is superior to it.
Yeah.
And what we have is the fullness, is the meat. And if there was something God allowed in the past, like whatever, polygamy or something like that, he allowed it for some temporary reason, or divorce in the case of like Moses allowing divorce. Jesus talks about that explicitly. Yeah, he allowed it because of your hardness of heart. Yeah. Moses allowed it for your hardness of heart. Now, though, no. He who looks at a woman with lust, or he who whatever. So, yeah, we have a higher standard now, and it just isn't. It's just different. And if God can bring about the salvation of the world through the death of the Messiah, maybe he can protect our society and our country and so on if we actually turn the other cheek. Maybe he doesn't need our help and our like persecution complex, and maybe the world can be saved without that.
That peace that he wants is going to have to start with us in our own homes and in the relationships that we have. You know, you're talking about being persecuted and this country going to war, and you're tweeting about it, and you know, I'll be guilty of this as well. You know, you think of the relationships that you have and the day-to-day living out of the gospel that we have to focus on, and that's what's going to sanctify the world mostly, is if we do it ourselves with our families. And
but that's so boring.
I know,
right?
It's not
I
like
have to be nice to my mom and dad and brother and sister.
Read the Bible, pray every day.
I have to pray these little prayers. And like, no, man, I want something. I want some action, man. And I think it's the same reason people really love the end of the world idea. Like, oh man, apocalypse and revelation. Like, oh, okay, what does Jesus say? When it gets here, man. Be ready.
Honestly, I think a lot of it too. I hate to say, I think a lot of. I'm gonna just speak from like I don't want to project onto other people, but I'll speak of it for myself. A lot of it is, I think, the need to be distracted. You know, because like when we talk about the truth, everybody likes to talk about the truth. This is the truth of the things, and you know, this guy's speaking out, and he's speaking the truth, and he's bold enough, and he's courageous enough, or whatever. And people latch onto that, right? And they enjoy the anger that it stirs up in them, or whatever. I think so much of that is just a distraction from the real call of the gospel, which is a personal conversion. So it's like we want to get away from Jesus looking at us and saying like, you need to change some things about yourself. And instead we latch onto it's
everybody else,
everybody else, or what's going on in the world, or in politics, or in whatever. Because we're trying to get away from the real calling, which is God is speaking to us and saying, you need to live out the gospel. Forget about everything else.
I think a clear image of that is Pontius Pilate too, right? When he tells Jesus, what is truth? Being so distracted and numb throughout, God knows, throughout his entire political career, and then all of a sudden he's looking at the truth, the word made flesh, the Logos, and he asks the question, what is truth?
Because he's too busy running his.
It doesn't even matter what the truth is. You just say what you got to say to get ahead.
You mentioned the end of the world thing and people being obsessed with it. I just want to read a couple verses from the reading the letter to the Hebrews, which our Chaldean brothers and sisters will hear on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Paul says, "Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." He said the day is drawing near 2,000 years ago, and people have been obsessed with the end of the world and with, trying to find out when it's going to be, when
it'll get here when it gets here.
I know.
Look, I think even with what Hebrews is saying here at the end, it's just a healthy idea to say, if I were to die right now, what would the state of my soul be? And I think that's what the author is sort of getting the reader closer to, is, okay, always think that it's near and live your life in that manner. And
it seems like it's easier for some people to like read things into the book of Revelation and find, I don't know why I just thought of this, monster.
Like
it's a claw mark.
Oh yeah, that.
And then it kind of vaguely looks like the Hebrew letter wow. Like, it's 666. There's three of them because wow is like the number 6. And it's like, oh my gosh. First of all, I mean, there's a million things that they're just incorrect about that. But like, just go to confession, man. Like, you be ready.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the mark of the beast. Why? I mean, first of all, Revelation is written in Greek. Second, it's not 3 6s. That's the number. It's 666. Third of all, that has to do with King Nero. There's a million things like that. Just dumb reading of the Bible. But second, even if you're right, who cares?
Go to confession.
Go to confession. Pray. Love God and neighbor. You think, well, if I drink this monster, this substance is going to make me go to hell. Like, because if this liquid goes into my body and it happens to have 3 marks on it, God is going to abandon me.
Yeah.
Like, you think God is as dumb as you are to think so? Whatever.
I remember my niece called me last year from Michigan. She was freaked out. She said, "Hey, I just want to ask about the trumpets from the book of Revelation." I I said, oh my gosh.
Okay.
I said, okay, what about them? Well, I can't go to sleep tonight because they said they're going to sound off tonight and then the world's going to end in Naked and Maha.
Does she have the holy candles for the days of darkness?
Yeah, that's
Just for the record, I actually hate Monster energy drinks. I can't stand them. I don't like Red Bull either.
I
don't
can't even
like
imagine
energy
you
drinks
drinking
much.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Red Bull, but I can't have it.
Why? You guess it's jittery?
Yeah, it's not good.
He used to have Red Bull for breakfast back in the seminary days.
Yes.
Just Red Bull.
Breakfast of champions.
I'm gonna drink coffee in the morning, whatever.
Guys, I want to show you a video by, you guys know the guy Russell Brand? He's like a
He's a very
actor or something.
very mediocre comedian and comic actor.
Yeah?
I don't know who.
He's mid
Okay.
at best. Is that a word?
Ooh. So I want to show you this, and I wanted to see what you guys think. So he's been on a search for Christianity, you know, or religion, and he's thinking about becoming a Christian. So I want to see what you guys think about what he was saying here. Let's see. Ready?
I've been going to church, a church where they do Alpha courses. I guess that's sort of Church of England. I've been to a Catholic church, and I'm considering going to a Eastern Orthodox church. Do you think the different denominations and distinctions are important when you look at God and the figure of Christ from, as best as one might claim, a universal perspective, if you feel that you can be universal on a subject like kindness or service or surrender or gratitude or overcoming the self or understanding that what you're experiencing in the moment, even if it is suffering, is God's will? I know that there are numerous distinctions, ecclesiastical and ontological, but I feel that at the moment I'm moving towards a kind of moment of baptism. I mean, are you baptized? Did you get baptized as an adult? Like, would you do it in a river? Would you do it in a font? Do you want to get fully under that? Because me, I want River Jordan or River Thames at worst. I want proper plunging and Tell me, what is the importance of the church? And tell me, is it important what church you go to? Because I'm just learning, man. I'm just learning. And you know, if I don't get clear guidance, I'll have to make a decision just sort of based on what pedal I'm on. So Orthodox, Catholic, Anglican, Presbyterian, Methodist, Pentecostal, you know. Let me know what you're into. In the holy name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, amen.
Okay, I take back what I said. He's a really good actor.
No, yeah, this is cool.
That's nice. I mean, anytime that something like that, just pray really hard for that person. If God's grace is acting in their life, great. For anybody.
And that he's exploring, you know.
Did you answer him?
No, this
You're
is
the
going to be
guy,
our
man.
answer to him.
You're the
but
guy.
maybe we can edit out the part of you saying he's mid.
No, like I repented of my sin.
Okay, that's
It's up
good.
to you,
That's
it's up to
good.
you, whatever you want.
I've actually never seen any.
He actually is in a couple of really
stuff that he
good
does.
episodes of SNL.
Oh, really?
And he's really funny in some of those. I mean that. I'm not even like backtracking.
Yeah, I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, that's good. Pray for him. We'll tag him in this. Right?
Yeah.
You want to
Camera
answer his
guy.
question?
Producer guy.
You want to answer his question?
Do you want to?
I mean,
Catholic.
Oh, yeah, Catholic. There you go. Get baptized, become Catholic. Why?
why Catholic and not Orthodox or Protestant or some other thing? Well, how did he frame it? So I think he framed it by, it's almost like self-understanding. I think it's more about incorporation into a body.
Yeah.
You know? And the way that the church kind of lays this out is, the Catholic Church is, the Church of God is, what is it? It's subsists, thank you. It subsists fully in the Catholic Church, and then there's, kind of emanations out from that for the Orthodox churches and the Protestant churches and things like that. So anyways, I think that obviously the Catholic Church is the right way to go because of the fullness of truth that's revealed there.
Truth, yeah.
And the fullness of the grace of God that's being given out in the Catholic Church, and especially through the sacraments.
Yeah, the reading, I just want to go back to this. It was in even just the quote that I read from the letter to the Hebrews, when he says, get ready because the day is drawing near, he's saying that you should not neglect to meet together and to join the community, So that's the main reason why Paul says, get ready for the end and stay with the community of believers.
Yeah, be a part of the body.
Is that still ecclesia? Would they use that for community?
I was reading a commentary on that earlier, and they did say that Paul would have been referring to the weekly gathering of, or the author of the Hebrews, the weekly gathering that they used to have for worship, you know?
I mean, it's funny that, like, the more busy and kind of, I don't know, industrialized society becomes, and people, like, just have no time for anything, it makes it harder to do that, you know? If people are working 60, 80 hours a week, and then you tell them, come to church on Sunday, okay, you know, they're bound to. It's still like a prescript of the church, and everyone's supposed to go to Mass on Sunday. But, like, I get it. I get, like, man, it's really hard if you, and, like, we live in California, it's impossible to live here financially. And people work so much in a kind of society where there is more respect given to families, to the point where, like, one person working can actually feed a family.
Yeah.
And you can, and just with limited hours, and there's actually time for leisure, there's time to spend time with each other, and then you don't feel so weird. I'm going to take the few hours that I have to rest. No, it's just much more natural. Okay, I'm just going to go to church because of course I'm going to go to church. You know what I mean? I remember, speaking of Iraq, I was in Iraq 10 years ago, and I just remember the culture there is so, you just breathe. And we don't breathe. I don't breathe. I don't know about you guys. Like, we don't, like, you just walk around. Like, what are you doing today? I'm just walking around. And then, like, you walk by and somebody's on their porch and like, oh, what's up? Oh, hey, like, you want some chai? All right, let's come in. And you just sit there for an hour and you drink chai with somebody. I can't imagine doing that in America.
Remember when we were in D.C.? What we were saying to each other?
We were depressed, yeah.
It was a complete stop to our lives, and all of a sudden, all you have is school, and then that ends. Your last class.
We were in
ends.
D.C. to study canon law.
Yeah, and by then, and we're telling each other when we were there, is this what it's like?
Yeah, because we went from working
this?
like 5 different jobs each, running from one place to the other, to now all you have is 6 hours of class in the morning and homework, and that was like, what are we going to do with all our time now? Yeah.
So yeah, we did experience a lot of DC.
No, like I'm messed up. Like I just submitted, I just submitted my dissertation to you.
Yeah.
And the other guy, the other readers and stuff, and literally I hit submit. Like I sent you guys the email, and I'm like, what do I do now? And I already started writing an outline for like another project that I want to work on.
I did that. I wrote advice for Aristotle. Yeah. Like I was writing that while I was finishing my dissertation. So I finished my dissertation, started advice from Aristotle. Finished advice from Aristotle, sent it into the publisher, started translating the Narseh book, which is not even out yet. It's not even out yet. I started the new prayer book.
Yeah.
I sent in the prayer book. I'm working on a Narseh article for SBL. Why am I like this?
For each one you say, no.
When is the prayer book coming out?
Hopefully the end of this year or early next year.
Can you tell our audience a
it's
little
an
bit about it?
updating of the Emmanuel book. It's a big expansion of it. So if you know what the Emmanuel prayer book is, or the Emmanuel prayer app, which everybody should
basically
download.
like a huge selection of the
It's a
Hadra.
big selection of the Hadra. This new one that's coming out is an even bigger selection. It'll still retain the Emmanuel prayers, but it'll have also the sort of non-reformed prayers there, so you can pray either one. And it'll be a big selection of like every Sunday of the year and a lot of the feast days. And there's a big introduction. All the traditional introductions are translated. There's just a lot of content. It's like basically the work of my entire life in one book.
And I mean, I'll just say thank you because
Cheers.
honestly, like, cheers to you and all the hard work that you've put in, because honestly, like, we were formed according to the Chaldean liturgy and the beautiful melodies and the deep theology of the prayers and everything. And now the kids of the church are, able to sing
Growing up in
Ramsha, and it's such a beautiful thing. You have to come one day to St. Michael's. I have like 50 kids. Yeah. They're chanting Ramsha, English Ramsha prayers daily.
What time?
It's actually Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 5:45.
Nice, man. Okay, I will show up.
We wouldn't
That's
be
awesome.
here without you.
That's awesome.
I mean,
I really hate when Father Denny watches me getting complimented and he has to ruin it.
it happens so often.
It happens every 2 years.
No, it doesn't. It happens so often that I don't know how to act anymore.
By the way, I'm going to look at the camera even though I was told not to. It's his birthday today. It's Father Denny's birthday.
Oh yeah, we gotta.
You're the one to celebrate.
What'd you say?
What? It's Pope Benedict's birthday, and I'm Hassan.
Is
It is. Yeah. How old would he have been, Gazile?
You wrote your
97.
Yeah.
97.
97.
Wow.
Yeah, 97.
Pope Benedict,
I
man.
feel
He only
like
died a year ago,
we're
right?
cheeky right now.
Did
he was
die
born
a year?
1923.
When did he die? A couple of years ago? A year ago?
Last year, at the end of the year, like right, December 31st, 2022.
Two. Okay. I was in the range.
You were pretty close.
Close enough, yeah.
Pope Benedict, man.
I don't know how
Pope Francis, I was in Rome like a month ago or something, and he looked kind of tired, man. Very tired. He was in a wheelchair.
We all look tired, man.
I know. No, you don't.
Have you seen him?
It was actually a day that I was at the Wednesday audience with a group, and he couldn't even get out of the wheelchair. Actually, to get back on
old is he?
the Popomobile,
He's like 86.
on the Popomobile.
Really?
Yeah.
Pope Francis is that old?
He's old.
Yeah.
And he was born with one lung. He has hip.
He was born with one lung or he lost it?
Guys,
I
I
don't
thought
know.
he was born. I thought he was born.
I pray for him and whatever.
right,
Yeah.
Born with one lung.
I would fact check myself, but I don't have internet in this room for some.
Can we check on the internet right now?
Should I fact
Producer guy?
Yeah.
Producer guy's gonna check right now. And then
Was the Pope born with one lung, or?
all he sees is thumb.
I'm pretty sure, man.
When do you guys want to do the thing?
Do it now, text now.
Okay, I'll text now.
You have my friend's book
I
here.
have to take it off airplane mode because I didn't know.
This is one of my favorite people. Zena Hitz. You got this book? Did I recommend it to you? This is one of my favorite people, and this is a great book, Lost in Thought, The Hidden Pleasures of the Intellectual Life. She's a good friend of mine.
What's it about?
You don't know how it got
Why
here?
I have
You
that.
should read it. It's really good. Everyone should read this book. Endorsing Zena.
Are you plugging
He was
it?
not born with one lung. He had one lung removed during his childhood.
Oh, okay.
So you were pretty close.
Yeah, and he
Guys,
You know, childhood, birth.
basically, I mean,
I dropped my mic. Symbolic.
I don't know what you mean by that.
It means like show's over, man. Bessa.
Can you tell us
Please.
an entertaining fact from the beginning of Chaldean church history?
Oh yeah, we want to talk about this stuff. It was not called the Chaldean Church for a long time. It was also not called the Assyrian Church. It didn't have any like national name attached to it. It was simply called the Church of the East. In fact, in the first century, it was just, I don't even know if it had that name. We start to see that name. I mean, you see it very clearly at the Synod of Isaac in 410, that it was called the Church of the East.
So that's like the earliest name that
I
it was
don't
called?
want to say the earliest, but I know by then it was already very, very standard. But the idea is what it is that eventually formed into the Church of the East, which is now the Chaldean Catholic Church, the Assyrian Church of the East, the ancient Apostolic Assyrian Church of the East, the Malabar Church. I mean, I guess in Marmari too, because he was originally a part of
He
one
was
of those.
part of
He was
the
part of one of those.
old calendar.
He was
I
part
think-
of both.
I think he went.
He was
yeah.
part of each one at some
Yeah.
point. So I guess you could, but so what eventually became the Church of the East that branched off into these different branches, the whole sort of definition of it was, this is the church that existed east of the Roman Empire. That's the sort of main point to understand. And so Eastern Christianity, when people, oh, the Eastern Church, that's really it's an incorrect term. There's no Eastern Church. There are Eastern churches, and many of the Eastern churches, like the Greeks or the Russians or the like all these other or the Maronites even or all of these from our perspective are part of the West. And in fact, again, in the Synod of Isaac in 410, we refer to the Church of Antioch, which is in Syria. We refer to that church as the Church of the West.
Wow.
Okay, so it sort of depends on perspective. And so what it means to be the Church of the East is east of the Roman Empire. Generally, the border of the Roman Empire was around the Euphrates River. And so that was kind of the border with the Persian Empire. It was at some points called the Persian Church because it was in the Persian Empire, but then the Persian Empire ended and the church didn't. So now you got it. So, fun fact from the first century, the traditions say that St. Thomas the Apostle went and preached.
And then he ended in India, but he went there on his way.
On his way sort of to India. There's sort of different traditions and they're like, there's a lot of debate about them, but and then on his way there, he sort of, some of the traditions say he sort of sent Mar Edde, who is Jude Thaddeus, and then there's the story of King Abgar, the Black, and he was sick, and he wrote Jesus a letter, and Jesus said, well, I'm busy, but I'll send somebody later.
Yeah.
Then he wrote him a letter.
And then, they wrote a letter back, and then Mar Edde goes and has an image of Christ and that heals the king, and then the kingdom becomes Christian. There's all kinds of cool traditions from the first century. And then there's another tradition of Marmari, who was the disciple of Mar Edde. And then Mar Edde, it's not even clear whether he was one of the 12 Jude Thaddeus or he was one of the 70 or a disciple of Thomas. There's a lot of kind of conflicting. And then Marmari is Mar Edde's disciple. And then Marmari goes south towards Babylon. And then he builds a church there. Koche.
Yeah, I remember that.
The slums.
And then it says that the tradition in the Middle Ages, from like Arabic medieval sources, say that he built this church, and in the first century, and he put an image of Our Lady in that church in the first century.
Heck yeah.
So if there's truth to that tradition, it's like our church was established in the first century.
And that's the oldest church.
In the Church of the East.
Church building. Yeah.
Church building, again, according to this tradition.
And don't forget, it's in Koche, which means the slums.
It's like the ghetto.
And they establish it there.
But it also implies, like even in the Middle Ages, even if it was just invented in the Middle Ages, it shows that by then it was well understood that the Church of the East very, very dearly venerated Our Lady and had images in the churches. It doesn't say that, Mar Edde put an image of Our Lady and then it was later torn down because obviously you can't have images. No, our church, it was just very natural to have images. A lot of them were destroyed because a lot of the churches were destroyed. But there are some people that don't understand what the Church of the East is. Oh, they only have a cross, they don't have icons. Of course they have icons. Their icons are mentioned in the Hodra. Yuqna, they're all over. Where are they? They were burned along with all the churches, unfortunately. It's a tragedy. I mean, even this gospel book's much more recent, but it has images in it. But that's a very old tradition. Before anybody in the Church of the East had returned to the Catholic Church, it's just understood. Of course they have icons. Of course they have images. And specifically of Our Lady.
Yeah.
So it shows that there's Marian devotion in the Church of the East very authentically, and it shows that there's icons very authentically in the Church of the East. Whether or not that tradition's true, it was kind of established in the Middle Ages as a fact and that nobody debated.
The fact that we didn't have icons at
The fact that we did.
Oh, that we did. That was established.
So the whole idea of, the Church of the East doesn't have icons, just has a plain cross, that's basically an invention of Anglican missionaries in the late 1800s. And they go to the churches, well, there's not many icons around. Oh, these must be authentic Christians before Catholicism and Orthodoxy stained us with all of these icons. Oh, these must be the true Christians because they don't have images. And so the Protestants basically imposed, the eisegesis imposed that on the Church of the East, the segment that wasn't Catholic, and onto the history, and it's just total fabrication, totally made up. So, whatever.
Honestly, man, images and, especially icons, we're all human beings, like we get distracted. Like I was talking to a kid yesterday after Mass, and he said, what should I do when I get distracted in church? And like we're at St. Michael's, and obviously there's a lot of beautiful icons there now. And I literally just said, look at the icons,
Oh, by the way, nice work on the remodeling, man.
Great job.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you guys obviously, helped a lot with the design and stuff. Thank you.
Oh, please.
I mean, it is, if people are concerned about idolatry, we should just remind them.
Just don't worship
Don't think it's God.
Exactly.
Check that off and then you're good. Like, don't bring it food as if like the God is going to eat or something like that. You're good.
My favorite thing, I mean, this is like a apologetics point, but it's still very cool, is, yes, there's a verse of God telling the people not to build idols and statues. And then he commands them to build statues of cherubim when they're building the temple. Like, is God going against his own word? Is he making you sin by doing that? And the point is that these are there for the worship of God in the temple, not to worship other gods.
I hear there's a lot of our people here, and like getting rid of their statues and stuff by like some Protestant influence. I've heard that. People are getting rid of their Virgin Mary.
I mean, look,
silliness, man.
You kneel in front of a Mary statue, and they think that you're worshiping not only Mary, but you're worshiping the
material,
the statue of Mary.
The
worship,
fiberglass.
as if worship is in the knees and not in the heart.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just basically going to judge that person's heart.
Yeah.
And then you think you're doing God's work by judging somebody else's heart. Get out of here, man. Get that out of here.
Gazila, man. One time I saw this, pious old woman doing it, and I don't know, there was a picture, a video of it, and there were people like bashing on her, like she's a holy woman kneeling in front of a statue of Mary. She's being reminded of the mother of Jesus and her mother too, and you're saying that she's worshiping an idol, you know?
It's a very old tradition in Judaism too, going to the tomb of Rachel.
Yeah, exactly.
Memory. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's not like this happened yesterday, like you were saying.
What'd you just
Pray for them, man. I was trying to find the spot again. We don't have internet, but like
Google it? Oh.
There's a spot where St. Paul says, I think it's in Galatians, and he's yelling at them, and he's like, "Oh, you feel," and he's like, "Before whom Christ was depicted publicly." There's something like that portrayed publicly, and it seems to imply that there was some kind of imagery happening in Galatia, and he's blaming them, like, you even saw this with your own eyes, this image. I don't think it's that clear that it's an icon or not an icon or something like that, but like there's something like imagery happening even in St. Paul's.
Maybe the shroud.
No, it says the word depiction. I shouldn't even like whatever.
What about, I mean, I don't know if you guys know much about this, but I've heard about the fact that St. Luke was apparently like a artist. Or something.
I've heard the legend that the first icon of Our Lady was by St. Luke.
St. Luke.
Then they put it in Kocha.
Then they put it in
Oh yeah, that'd be sick.
It's a cool argument, you know. And John Damascene, Damascene.
Is it?
Damascene.
I think it's Damascene.
John,
I
think it's Damascene.
I haven't heard Damascene.
Whatever. Tomato.
Damascus, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. However you say his name. John, the beloved. He had the argument. He was arguing with a bunch of during the iconoclasm days, you know. But his argument, I loved it. It was before in Old Testament times, they wouldn't want images of things in heaven and on earth because people would worship them as if it was God. But now God has taken on a human face and we can draw it. You know, I love that. It's the whole incarnation.
The incarnation,
I love that.
Yep.
So now, like, the idea is like we can have images of things in heaven because heaven has come down to earth. You know, it's taken on concrete form.
And even though it doesn't look exactly like Jesus would have looked, still, because we're human beings, it can help us to remember Jesus.
It's a reminder.
You know, we use our senses, right?
Damashino, huh?
I'm hungry, man. Yes, perfect
Oh,
timing.
perfect timing.
USA.
Feeding fathers.
Feeding fathers, man. Let's do some feeding.
Should we get rid of this so it doesn't? Maybe.
So, okay.
Put it under.
So, guys, every episode we're gonna try to get fed by some gracious people. For today, we're being fed by the brother chef, the chef of the monastery.
Brother Anthony.
There's Brother Matthew.
Wow, that was great, man.
Hello, look at this guy.
Wow.
It's all about presentation, man.
Shannon, go.
Lenachbit.
Thank you.
Brother Anthony, thank you.
My God.
Homemade Philly cheesesteak.
This looks terrible, man. I don't know. Licking my baluch.
Brother Matthew's the sous chef.
Is
Wow,
that an
that's
egg?
huge.
Is that an egg in the middle?
There's an egg in it?
Egg,
Man.
soft egg, egg and cheese
Need
with
a
that
lot of
twist,
napkins.
you know?
So that's a Philly cheesesteak.
This is insane, man.
Everything here is homemade, Mo.
Everything homemade,
Including the bread.
including the bread. The sauce is for presentation, but
شوط مارن ولا أن يمين دم رحمن وثق مرو مرتقد شخ بارخ نأخذ هذا تساقذي شرطة هبطاواث وبركاث بش مزغيث أرثيثا يثم شبحته وبرو روح تقد شخ أمين.
Amen.
This is why having a long beard is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was good, man.
It's an excuse to come visit me.
What are we supposed to talk about? You have stuff in your face, man. It's gross.
Oh, oops. Beard life. I don't know. Is there like I heard we're supposed to do like a roasting session while we eat. If you guys want.
I want to talk about the Last Supper, but I guess if it's
Roast session. It's his birthday.
there's so
We start there.
okay. I have a lot of subject matter all around me. Go ahead, guys. Please, be my guest.
Well, the Andy's the best roaster.
But we're subject matter.
Dude, I need more napkins, bro.
What are you?
I need a shower after this.
I don't know, bro.
Okay, let's start with you. Should we bring
Yalla.
like a blanket to?
Yeah. Well, look, I haven't got anything on my casket.
We should get like a towel.
Just my beard.
We should get bibs
Bibs?
for our cassets.
With the logo.
Yeah.
With the logo on it.
Please, man.
That's a great idea, dude.
First, we should get a good logo.
Were you there that day I went with the bishop and Father
bring my
Peter? We
towel.
went to go have pacha at those ladies' house.
Yeah.
Were you there that day? They brought towels, like bath towels, and they laid them on us.
Yeah.
That's genius.
And I don't eat pacha.
That is genius.
I thought they were gonna have like other stuff, you know, there's a maraka salad. They just had pacha, and it was a very bad experience.
I thought they were gonna pour the pacha on us.
I don't know how you don't eat pacha, man.
The bishop made me eat grain in.
That was good, man.
Abbot, bro.
That was good.
No,
Dude.
it's not good.
Me too that day with the ladies. The nastiest thing I've ever had in my life, bro.
Pacha or
No,
Grain
brain.
is terrible.
Is that like drinking smart water? You guys.
That's a Brother Sinan joke.
That is a brother snack.
That's the meanest roast we can make.
Hope these guys make
I'm
it for
tired.
the
I'm
time,
tired
bro.
right now. I'm
That's the
tired.
man.
Who's the loudest person when they're eating? Out of
You.
all four of us.
You, 100%
Loud.
you.
Only chips.
You sweat when you eat.
That's not when I eat, if it's spicy or salty.
I didn't do that.
Do I do that?
Whoa.
Do I do that? He's louder as far as the exclamations.
No, he's violent. He's violent.
No, he's more animal.
I get
More
excited, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know some people that it feels like they have like a speaker system built into their cheeks to amplify them chewing.
ASMR.
No, it's the opposite of that.
So yeah, I was gonna say that if there's anybody watching that wants to ask us questions,
Oh, yeah.
we can read the questions next time.
Will this be on
and
YouTube?
discuss. Yeah,
So on YouTube, like the comment section.
YouTube. Oh, there they are. Perfect.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, let's go, man.
Happy
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Father Daniel.
Wow.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you guys.
It's Biscoff
That's a
cake.
beautiful cake. So this was made by our producer's wife.
What's the cake, man? Here. Oh, so you want dessert? Okay, everyone, please deliver it to Father Simon. I want nothing to do with it.
And he's never gonna have. I'll make sure he never has a single bite.
If there's no sugar in it, I'll have it.
I love when you do that.
That's in this, man.
Thank you.
God, it was last minute and everything.
Feeding fathers.
Okay, first piece for the birthday boy. Do you want more blackberries or raspberries, or it doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, there's
Well,
a
you have-
knife right here.
I know, but
That's a serving spoon.
look, I know you're gonna, because what am I gonna grab it with a
That's what I'm
knife?
saying. I'm on your side.
Oh, thank you. Here, let me see here.
No, please.
No, Father Daniel, please, let's just argue about nothing.
What kind of cake is this? Let us know what you think. Biscoff?
I don't know what that means.
That's
Father Simon is done. Father Simon is done.
Remove all objects
Okay,
away
I'm
from it.
gonna finish this
He's a
later.
violent person.
What is Biscoff?
It's that
Oh,
cookie thingy.
That shut down.
That bad, huh?
Does so.
Was that good? Shut down means good?
Yeah. That's our brother Sinan.
You kids today with your words.
Did he not say the word mid 20 minutes ago?
They probably still don't. They probably don't say that anymore.
No, they do.
Unless you guys are that young.
They do, but dude, the fact that the Biscoff is like soft now,
I'm tired.
it like hits different.
I know it's bikhala.
In Bispera, it's also.
No, we're not allowed to have chai. No, it's not allowed. We're not allowed to have chai.
Brother Matthew.
It has to end there. It has to end
No
there.
Yeah.
No chai chat. This is a new show.
Yeah.
Feeding fathers.